Our sponsors for this episode are Gambino's Pizza in Newton. Gambino's Pizza in Newton is located at 1029 Washington Road in Cedar Village. They are open 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. If you love pizza as much as I do, you know that you always have time and room for pizza. Not only can you dine in or carry out, but they have a huge menu of items to pick from, including wings, pizzas, salad bar, and not only that, but they have the only pizza buffet in Newton. If you're looking for a family-friendly environment or just need to stop in for a quick lunch over the noon hour, Gambino's has got you covered. Visit Gambino's Pizza in Newton at 1029 Washington Road in Cedar Village, or give them a call at 316-866-1778. That's 316-866-1778 to order out or ask questions. You can even order online. Look them up on Facebook, give them a like, follow, and a share. Gambino's Pizza in Newton. Carlos's Kitchen and Cater. Carlos's Kitchen and Cater, located at 114 South Kansas Avenue in Newton, is one of Newton's best kept secrets. Or maybe you know about them and have already stopped in or carried out some of the most delicious Mexican food in our region. If you're just hearing about them, you need to give them a try. If you're a repeat customer, you'll already know why. Give Carlos's Kitchen and Cater a call at 316-804-0158. That's 316-804-0158. Or you can stop into 114, that's 114 South Kansas Avenue. Make sure to look them up on Facebook, give them a like, follow, and share. And don't forget, folks, tell your friends. Carlos's Kitchen and Cater. The Newton Kansan is Newton's longest-running local newspaper, covering all the stories, people, places, and things happening in our community. Chad Fry, the Kansan guy, editor of the Kansan, works diligently to ensure integrity, accuracy, and unbiased news is delivered to your doorstep 3 times a week for an unbeatable price. You can also sign up for online-only access for around $7 a month. That's 12 online papers a month for only $7. If you've not subscribed, it's time you do. Visit them in their office at 517 North Main Street. That's 517 North Main Street in Newton. Online at thekansan.com. That's thekansan.com. Or give them a call at 316-283-1500. That's 316-283-1500. Support local journalism, support the Kansan. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this HCTalk podcast. As always, I'm your host, Lance Gormley, and my guest on the program is Andy Ortiz, local businessman and entrepreneur, and for the moment, USD 373 school board member. And I must say that Chad Fry, the Kansan guy, is not going to be with us today. And there's a reason why. Because of Veterans Day, Chad, covering almost everything local that he possibly can, including government entities, has had to reschedule based upon the fact that the Harvey County Commission normally meets on a Tuesday, but given the holiday, they are meeting today. So, we love you, Chad. We miss you, Chad. The show must go on. And occasionally, it does happen where one of us have business outside of what we're doing here. I'm sure that there will come a time when you will be blessed with the lack of Lance and only Andy and Chad. So, how's Andy doing today?
Fantastic.
Anything just that you have to point out today to say, you know what, this is why it's fantastic and everything is great, grand, and green?
You know, there's so much opportunity that I see every single day when I get to wake up, and I get to live my American dream, which is hard. It's gritty. You know, I haven't worked for anybody for 18 years other than the people that partner with me and trusted me to get jobs done. And just having the freedoms to do that over the years, and all the mistakes and the failures and the issues that I get to run into owning and operating the little entities that I get to participate in, you know, it's a lot of fun. I wake up grateful every single day that I have problems that most people wish they had. So, yeah, man, I mean, every single day I got another chance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I got to say, as far as I'm having a fantastic day as well. You know, many times I talk about on the program, perspective is key. Even, you know, if you have an attitude of gratitude and thankfulness, then what happens then becomes that you're able to develop an optimistic lifestyle. And I think people underestimate how to train the brain, right? Let's just real quick, training the brain, okay? If you are constantly upset angry, stressed, and frustrated. That releases a little chemical in your brain called cortisol, right? And then what happens is the brain, because it has the ability, the amazing capacity to make pathways, roads, let's call it, in your brain. And if you continue to drive down this road and work on this road and patch this road and pave this road, then your brain automatically becomes conditioned to seeking that cortisol dump.
That's right.
Okay, and that's what it is.
They're grooves.
They're grooves.
You're making little rivers.
Right.
To positivity and get it done.
Yes. So unless you make a conscious effort to have a gratitude of attitude, and when that negative thought comes in, or you think that something is not going the way you want it to go, then just be thankful for what is going your way. And it's not like a denial, right? You're not sitting here denying the fact that you don't have struggles, right? Because Andy could look at it in a way in which, like what he's talking about right now, which, completely optimistic, thinking about the positivity of what comes forward. And even though, and he did disclaim it, right, to say, hey, sometimes it's really tough. But if you focused on the tough and that's all you focused on, Andy, then you would give up, throw your hands up in the air and say, to hell with it, would you not?
100%. Well, the tough, it comes along with the territory, and you got to embrace it, right?
Yeah.
You embrace the suck, right? Focus on the possibilities, not the challenges. What you focus on grows. As you're moving forward towards your goals or the things that you're doing, when you have your eye on the prize, if you're driving and looking down at the mountains, the potholes are there. But if you're looking past the potholes instead of stopping at every pothole and backing up and going to the next one because you're looking at the next pothole and stopping and then figuring it out, when you're looking at the mountain, your mind has a way to navigate through that road where you just continue to go at a pace and you just swerve and weave in and out of those potholes instead of stopping and backing up at every single one. And one of the biggest blessings I get to experience with the pressure that I'm blessed with, that I get to live with, is when you see other people crumble in a really, what you would call beginner stage, get after it, fix something, build something, and you realize what you've been given and the opportunities that have built you to be who you are and where you're at, and you're going, oh my gosh, that's really a problem for them. And not that it's not a problem, but it's what you choose to do and how many times you choose to go through that instead of letting that consume you and eat you up and not be able to get outside of a box that people put themselves in their own boxes.
Absolutely. You build your own cage brick by brick by brick.
Yes. And the fact that I've had the people and I've listened to them and I've been through the hard conversations and I've been through the sleepless nights enough to go, man, thank God that I get to have the problems I have now. And one day, hopefully, I'm going to look at where I'm at today, 5 years from now, as I continue towards my goals and go, man, I remember when I was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I want more.
Yeah.
Bring it on. Why not me?
Yeah. Yeah. And and I've asked people on here, I don't know how many countless times, and it just came up in my head once again, when we talk about challenges and worldview and perspective and, the choice to be pro-positive or have an attitude of gratitude, how much do you think the people that you surrounded yourself with, that you call friends, mentors, had an impact on your worldview and whether or not you adopt their philosophy or iron sharpens iron? How important is surrounding yourself with pro-positive attitude of gratitude people that want to accept the challenge, move forward, and hopefully be productive and successful in their life have to do with your successfulness and productivity?
Almost everything. I mean, you've got to be careful, right? We all know these things, but the people you surround yourself with is very important. And I love people that I don't hang out with very much because of mindset and just choices and things that a lot of people that don't understand me aren't going where I'm going. And I frankly don't care to share very much anymore about what's in my head or what I'm trying to do or my life goals, except for a very small group of people that hold me accountable to that. And those are the people that I find myself with all the time. And they send me random clips throughout the day that are motivating and inspiring and sometimes tough questions that I need to think through. And I have a few real close friends that, sometimes it's uncomfortable to have to deal with the feedback that they give me. And I don't like it sometimes. But I'm grateful because after I get out of my own head, sometimes it's 10 minutes. Sometimes it's 5. Sometimes it's 30 seconds. Sometimes when I'm a big crybaby, I'll give it a day. You know,
and you're like, oh, that's too much time to waste on this.
Well, but I'm trying to find my center, because usually when I have those big ones, there's some kind of a thing that I'm still working through internally, such a huge character flaw that I know I'm not going to be able to fix overnight, but I have to realize that it's there. And the process of working through that is really tough for me. Some people do it a lot easier than I do. I'm just kind of a pansy, you know, and it takes me time to fix things. But I do it, right? And I'm doing it, and I'm going to continue to do it. And, you know, the hardest thing is to have a real strong belief in something. And I said belief, and then having that shift.
And having to accept that. Look at yourself deeply and then accept it for what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, right now we're going through it locally with this last election, right? I was here, and then I thought, well, you're nuts. So I went over here and said, well, dang, you're nuts too. So now I'm kind of like, what do I do? Where do I fit in this picture? Yeah. And then you get jacked up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and
then you're going, well, I'm going to have to make a point and change this for the future. And it's not going to be pretty on the front end. And there's a lot of people going to get upset, but I know the mission is worth the squeeze.
Yeah. 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 And then you cannot, you know, having the experiences that you've had only make you better. I often say any self-improvement is not easy and takes work. If it was, everybody would self-improve. Many things that people who are high-achieving endeavor to do are not easy, therefore everyone would be a high achiever, right? I mean, it comes down to any personal goal that you set. We're coming into the holidays, it's getting wintertime, right?
Yes.
And then not only that, but I guarantee you one of people's probably the biggest New Year's resolution that people have is something in the field of self-help and betterment as far as health is concerned.
Lose weight, right? Usually.
Yes, I was going to go there. But I, you know, I didn't want to be too specific, because it could be that I want to go work out, or I want to go walk a mile a day, or I want to whatever. And realizing that, you know, you have to start small and then to retrain yourself. That's not easy. None of it's easy. No self-improvement is easy. No self-betterment is easy. Anything that comes easy is not worth, we'll just call it the squeeze. And then not only that, but another thing too, like you said, Andy, I'm a firm believer that truth stands taller than any other thing, right? Once truth is stated, even if it's something we don't like, if somebody points out something in my life and they're like, Lance, this is an issue for you. This is an issue. Then the challenge is on for me to look at myself, really challenge myself and the way I think and why I think the way I think, and dig in to find out, well, is this something that happened? Is this like a worldview I formulated because of a few experiences from when I was just a kid, right? And how long has this stayed with me? On and on and on. But once again, for anybody that wants to have any self-improvement whatsoever, remember that the first battle is making the decision that's what you want to do, and then the true work begins. Okay, I'm not Chad Fry, the Kansan guy, but there are some things in the Kansan that I want to cover real quick, and I probably won't do it in as much detail as Chad had, but I want to, first off, and this was not in the Kansan, it may be, but this is in the Wichita Eagle, I just want to congratulate Heston High School cross country team. They win their second straight state title. So congratulations to them. You know, we talk about, like, what does it take? What did all of those ladies have to go through for years and years and years in order to be the best self that they could be? Work in conjunction as a team, all doing that high level self-reflection and practice and just pushing it out. And I just got to say, congratulations, ladies. Two-time. The next one that I'd like to cover is in the Kansan, the most recent things that were on the front page, we'll call it. The city is considering suspending water cutoffs, I think, for this time of year. There is a blip in there. You definitely want to read about it. So get yourself a Kansan. We've already gone through it again. The cost is very minimal for what you get. I'm an online paper kind of guy. I used to be a paper kind of guy, but with the online subscription being literally $8, I think is what I pay. I get them all and I read them all for sure. So the next one was Toy Run that they had draws lots of donations. I know right now there's also the Sheriff's Department that's doing the Holiday Helpers. So there's a lot of people that are coming together in our community. Once again, we have an extremely giving community in order to make sure that those who are the most in need are able to have or get, or that they can help put a smile on those people's face when they're in a less fortunate situation, to really just show some blessings to families and especially kids. Because I've oftentimes said, regardless of the child, does the child have control over the parent? Does the child have the ability to have mom and dad be in a different situation? They kids are the most affected in so many different ways, and it's sad in my opinion because they're not really in control of any of it. Would you agree with that, Andy?
Yeah.
I mean, when we think about kids, right, and this is going to go into some of the topics that we're going to talk about, right? They're just victims of circumstance 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could take it to some of the things that I'd like to see happen in the school system, right, to support the kids. And let me see if I can draw a direct line to how things affect kids when they have nothing to do with it. So we have stuff that happens at the national level for education. That gets filtered down to the state level, right? Then the state filters things down to our local levels, right? And so we have like scores and test scores and all these things that we talk about. And we have a measure that they give us, which we talked about with our senator and 2 state representatives here locally that support our district or that are in our vicinity, Stephen Owens, Mike King, and Avery Anderson. And we had a great discussion about that, right? And there was some pushback on, well, there's still a little scuttlebutt going on, and it's not real serious, but people take things personal. Yeah. Our superintendent, it's his career, it's his life, it's what he does, and he has to stand up for the school. It's like literally his job. Well, the other side saying we're giving you more money, but the results are going backwards. What the heck? And then you change the test scores to make it look like it's better than what it is. Well, we didn't change the test scores. We just did this, and then we're talking about this measure. They're saying, well, is that the only measure? It's like, well, that's the only measure you give us, right? So what is the other measures? And then they're like, well, what should they be? It's like, well, you're the educators. You tell us.
Yeah.
And this is the part that finally got me about 6 months ago. It's like, we're pushing Avery Anderson saying, well, what do you mean competition, right? Yeah. What do you mean competition? And the kids are underneath this competition. And Fred's thinking, I got to protect the kids. Competition could hurt kids. Not only in 373, but he just loves kids.
Yeah.
That's like his thing, like his life. And so he's
educate
kids.
Yeah.
Everybody, if he could.
Yeah.
He has no borders with kids.
Yeah.
He loves kids. So, and he has a responsibility, and he's in a position that carries a lot of responsibility for a lot of kids. Thank God we have people like him in those positions in our district. So he struggles with, yes, I know I'm supposed to fight for 373, but you're talking about kids, dude. Children. You want me to compete using children? What does that look like? And Avery's like, that's for you to tell me. And that actually bothered me the first time I heard it because I thought it was a cop-out. And I told Avery this to his face just the other day in front of everybody. And I said, but one thing I really did appreciate, you were right. It is our job to come to you with a plan and a system and say, this is what we want to do. How can you help us get this done? Well, as that moves across the ladder to the state, because they're not on those committees, the education committees, as that moves through the system, so this is some education, right? Because that's what we do. Then you go to another group, and we have to find out who's in those committees. And then you have 2 parties that are fighting about that, because this is nonpartisan, though.
Yeah.
We'll just get that.
Educating our kids, supposedly, is not.
It's not. But it is.
Yeah.
And let's just stop, right? It is.
Everything is nowadays.
100%. Unfortunately, it is what it is. But we've got to play in reality.
Yeah.
Extremists are going to do what they do no matter what you try to do in being rational, right? And it's on both sides, right? But I've got to choose a side that better fits me. So anyways. So then that has to go through. And let's say we put together the most amazing system possible. We borrow pieces from other schools that are doing amazing things with kids. They got data. They've been doing it for 10 years. Schools are starting to pop up everywhere to compete with the public schools. And that's this one school in particular. Fred said $75,000 a year per student. It's actually $100,000 a year per student that these families pay for these kids to be in these schools.
Wow.
They have some stuff going on, and they're empowering their kiddos to run the future. A lot of these people that have that kind of capital, they know what's going on. They look at the world differently. And so they're going to invest in their families differently. And the public school system is not something they're going to put their kids into. right?
Absolutely.
And because they're going to give them a hand up if they can. That's the way it works, though.
One might actually ask the question, Andy, if you had the financial resources to put your child in a private school, which ultimately may lead to them accepting or not accepting your child based upon test scores or whatever, because they're not going to take your kid if your kid's going to make their data look bad. Right? They can.
Well, that really doesn't matter. I don't think even at that. Yeah, they can.
If you're a private school and you have a kid that comes in, regardless of how much money the parent has, if they're bombing out, but even then you get into the fact that I'm a firm believer that oftentimes some of the reason why test scores and things are not coming out the way they should is because of the pressure that's put on the family. No excuses here, but the pressure that's put on a family, maybe even a lower socioeconomic or a middle class or a lower middle class family, they're more focused. The parents are more focused on keeping a roof over their child's head, food in their stomach, water on, toilet flushing, and of course I don't want to get into whose fault that is, right? As far as whether or not they chose to do X, Y, or Z, go to school, whether they had the opportunity to go to school. But then the public school system is tasked without being able to deny a student from coming and being at school. Well, then how many of these students are getting read to? How many of these students got somebody helping them with their math to help their math scores come up, or their English, or their writing, or their arithmetic, these things that they score by? So, oftentimes it's said, well, this is not a school problem, this is a family problem. But even then, a family problem is more of an economic problem and
sometimes
social issues. I mean,
I think I want to finish this thought because, we're talking about how the kids are affected from things that they have nothing to do with, right?
Yeah.
So in along that vein, just in the public school side, let's say we borrow from these schools, right? That were these capitals going into these schools and they books out there, there's systems out there, right? You can learn what they're doing, you can watch what they're doing. The way the school system is set up right now, we couldn't take that and implement it without an act of Congress, as they say. But what if we could? What if there was a way where we could run pilot projects where everybody signed off on it that's going to be involved, all the families, all the liabilities taken care of, and do that? Well, there's people that are in positions that should be doing this stuff at the state level and at the national level that aren't doing this stuff, that frankly, a lot of them don't know how because they've never really built anything.
Yeah.
Just to be straight.
Just ran and got elected.
Or whatever. I mean, it happens a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
We're seeing it in front of on our own community. It's like you're not even showing up to frickin' meetings, much less have influence to get things done.
Yeah.
Right? And have contacts anywhere outside of the zip code to borrow from anywhere. You can tell you're not reading books. I can tell. Yeah. This is where we're at. But that being said, then you're going to get pushback and you're going to have to fight to make that happen because people don't want to be made look bad.
Yeah.
And it's not like we're doing it to make people look bad.
Yeah.
It's just that's the natural defense mode. Like, hey, accountants, your job is gone in 5 years, if not sooner. You better make a move now. Oh, no way in hell that'll happen. And they're so bought in and they're so focused and they're so doing what they're doing, not realizing what's coming down at them. And then they put their head in the sand and they avoid the reality of what's coming. And then that becomes at D-Day everybody else's fault. Yeah. When I'm telling accountants right now, your job is gone.
AI's going to do it.
It's done. They're doing it now. And it's only a matter of time before the numbers and the companies choose to switch because they got responsibilities. And businesses are going to do it. It's how, you're just taking jobs. Well, go build one. You take the risk.
Well, do it better than AI.
Or go find something different because it doesn't matter how you feel about it.
It is what it is.
The job is gone.
Yeah.
And if we're teaching kids accounting as freshmen in college right now, you're losing your money. That's not going to be there. Do something different.
Yeah.
find a path forward. We're not teaching our kids this stuff. We're trying to keep them in the same system. And deep down inside, I believe our kids know that. Their subconscious knows that.
Oh, they're way better when it comes to technology than I am by far. I mean, when you think about whether they can see what the writing on the wall of the future, that is, I would look at that as a better possible outcome, their worldview on what's going to transpire rather than mine. And I got a question, business-wise.
Well, real quick, let me finish real quick. That is how a system can hurt a kiddo because of the egos and the stuff that has nothing to do with the result for the kid. It has to do with petty crap and titles and position and being afraid of readjusting your energy because it's uncomfortable and we don't know and want to do that. So we can't pull ourselves apart to go, what is best for me here, for the kiddos and for the system as a whole? Because if I was smart, I would say, dang, I need to pivot too, and I need to pivot for the kids. A lot of times people aren't in a position to think through that. And there's 1,000 reasons for that I can't explain this quick, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, I see that happening across all industry. But in education, that affects our kids. And it's so frustrating to watch our kids be affected. And it can come down to parents getting divorced and that kid going through some crap and has nothing to do with the divorce that's going on over here, made no choices for all that to happen, whether it's mom or dad or infidelity or financial issues or whatever the deal that causes that to blow up, right? The kiddo was innocent in that, going, well, I'm on for the ride no matter what happens. And the emotional, social issues that occur depending on how mom and dad choose to handle that. A lot of times mom and dad ain't thinking about that stuff on the kiddo. Yeah. They're just thinking about their own survival.
Yeah, because we live in a self-serving society.
It is what it is, right? And I'm that way too in some areas of my life, and I got to be conscientious and try to call myself out of it because I'm a freaking human like the rest of us. But these are the realities and the conversations that people aren't having, and so that's why the lunches, right? I remember we made a big push, and our kids get lunches. Yeah. You know, and there's things and people that are churches that are coming to take care of accounts and doing great things. And it's been happening for a while. I mean, somebody just gave a big chunk of money not too long ago, an individual to the lunch, system. To make sure that those things are getting paid, because that kid who mom and dad makes too much, that's has to pay full price. Well, there's not money for 6 months because they're working things out and nobody has money because they're going through hell. And that kiddo's a byproduct sitting there like, I can't even pay for my lunch. And now I'm embarrassed because I can't just ask for a free lunch now. Yeah. And mom and dad's income doesn't call for that. And now I'm sitting here getting offered a cheese sandwich in front of my friends and I have nothing to do with that. You don't think that bothers a kid?
Oh, you know what I would have done? If I knew there wasn't money and I was going to get offered a cheese sandwich, I'm not eating.
I'm not hungry.
I'm
just going to grab a water and sit down. I'm that kid too, 100%. I would not even try to alert anybody to my issue. Yet I'm sitting there in my mess. 100%. I'm that kid too, Lance. I get it.
Yeah. So okay, just because we're resting here, and I didn't know that we would or whatever, but that's the way this goes, and it's good because the thing that came up in my mind, starting when to put a capstone right on what we began talking about with the toy run and et cetera, and then the schools and the kids that are affected and all the variables that go into or are in play when it comes to this. Children are casualties of war.
Bam.
We have a lot of children that are casualties of war, and a war that's going on that they have no control over. And I mean, thank God we can say that, it's not bullets that are flying, right? Because there are countries where that is absolutely the case. But in our own situation, when you're talking about divorce and the parents, and you're talking about the school and the policy making and the politicization of our school system and who's getting what and who's not getting and all this and who's going to pay for school lunches and taxes and bond issue and all this. I mean, we're watching a war just now gearing up when it comes to our school bond issue. right? I did an interview with Fred Van Rankin, who's the superintendent of USD 373. I suggest people watch that. You know, I wish that we could have talked for another 2 hours because we try to condense a huge topic down into an hour, and it's not always possible. And we've talked, and I think Fred will come back out here and we'll talk a little bit more as this progresses forward. But once again, all this stuff that's going on, our children have absolutely no say in all these wars and battles that are going on, and they're just casualties of war. Just casualties of war. And I think if we look back, right, it's not unempowering because children and youth have to step up, and some do, right, and do what they need to do in their future to be successful. But it's also, in my opinion, society's jobs are the greater whole, the society, especially through public education, to ensure that our children are being given the best possible opportunity that we can give them through a K through 12 public education, which the mass majority of youth go through, to be equipped to be successful in society. I'm on a long, sorry folks, I'm on a long, that's what it is. Which leads me to the next thing, which was most everybody knows about the SNAP situation.
Oh, man.
It's kind of just gone back and forth, and whether they get it, government shutdown and on. And I mean, if you're watching it, I'm sure you found a national news source.
It's a political football.
It's a political football. And now they've opened up the government, so there's that. But at the same time, the Supreme Court is involved in ruling that you know, a lower court says that Trump can't deny SNAP benefits, must pay SNAP benefits. Then it goes to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court looks at the actual governing bodies and who's can do what and who's got the authority and the power to do what versus the executive and the Congress. And it's just like, wow, you know, and they think about all the people that are extremely affected through a lack of being able to just feed their kids. Because, you know, we can say, oh, these people, they're giving it away to legal immigrants. They're just giving SNAP benefits away to legal immigrants, and we need to stop that. That's okay. So that's not necessarily always. There is no absolute truth in that, right?
But it is true, though.
But it is true. So there's an element.
We've given a lot of money away.
Yeah, to people that I mean, but even then, let's talk about that, Andy. We might get into the national stuff. Here we are sending billions and billions and billions of dollars,
hundreds of billions,
to other countries. But yet we can't even take care of what's going on here at home.
That's a problem.
And one of the mantras, right, that the Trump administration ran on and won on was America first, America first, America first. So if you really believe in America first, why are we doing all of these things here locally that are, whether they're unintended consequences or not, affecting American people? Like, you could put forth the SNAP benefits and people could have the SNAP benefits and then take who was it that said we need to take a surgical knife to things? It was one of these leaders we had over the last few years. But you know, you want to take a scalpel. We want to take a scalpel to things. Well, then you can walk that back, right? If that's happening, then find a way to do that. But even with our immigration that's going on right now. Okay?
Yeah, there's a lot of mess.
We all wanted for people that were in our country illegally, that were engaging in criminal activity, to get the hell out. Get them out. Deport them. Okay? And now what's happening, which I'm not completely in favor of because I understand how the economy works. Now we're taking people and we're going in and raiding workplaces where potentially people that are not here legally are working, providing for their families, and just ousting them.
So there was a workplace that was raided, and but there's a lot of variations here,
yes,
right?
Yeah,
Depending on the area you're in. Yeah. So there's people that have pretty serious records that they're still chasing down. Yeah. And if this person works at Car Wash X in Los Angeles,
good call. I just see where you're going with this.
And they've said, if you don't turn these people in, if you're there, sorry.
Yeah.
Tom Holman, the monster himself to those people that hate what's going on, has said, look, we're going after the criminals. And if you're there, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In other words,
Good call.
you gotta take care of your own community
Good
too,
call.
and don't have those people around.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And so when they're coming in to get person X and Y, and they just happen to be around 30 other people who are there working, and they take off running, and these women are just trying to help provide for their families, and they got a job at the car wash drying down cars, and the guy over there got caught with 5 kilos of cocaine and never showed up to court, and he's here illegally, and they need to get him out of here.
Then you're just
this is the part, and I called this out from the beginning. This stuff was going to happen. I could hear it in their language. I see how they're laying out their strategy, right?
Yeah.
And so is that right? And then you do have other things where they're going to Home Depot parking lots, and ICE is raiding where the guys stand to get work, right? They made it to where they seemed like they didn't have to worry about it, and then all of a sudden they did a sting on it. And it's like, yeah, those guys there are really trying to work and trying to provide services. And that bothers me, but they are here illegally, and it is what it is.
It goes back to that, and you wonder how much you're influenced by the messaging that's put out through different mediums.
A lot, because there was a strip club.
I saw that.
Yeah, and there were people being trafficked out of that strip club, and there were drugs in there, high amounts of meth and cocaine. And there was a 14-year-old that was being prostituted in that situation. Well, the ICE agents knew that. And they were hitting this place because it was run by people who were illegal. Yeah. It was basically like a trafficking prostitution ring, basically. There was people outside protesting ICE while ICE was in there pulling out a 14-year-old that was being used to be prostituted. And people, so do you think they knew the inside of that story?
No.
And I think we've talked about this one time before, but that stuff blows me away. But that is happening in all areas, pro and con, right?
Yeah.
The messaging is too loud on both ends because everybody's showing their teeth in their most extreme side.
Yeah.
That's why our local elections just did what they did, right? Activists do what they do.
Yeah.
They don't care about the middle story or unpacking the story or, hey, 5 out of those 14 were really bad people.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, have some sense. I mean, I brought up something and you had a counter argument to that. And, I can't argue with that, right? Like I think we can both agree we're in a mess.
Oh, big time.
And our government, right, has spent a very long time making it about partisan politics, what I've called the mutual assured destruction. And now, as we've progressed forward, anytime that you do anything, there's going to be an unintended consequence. We don't, I think we oftentimes.
Well, and how did immigration become partisan?
Well, because they utilize that as an opportunity to pit one person against another.
So one party is more self-righteous than the other when it comes to immigration?
I think they fight over that all the time when it comes to anything, Andy.
But who's fixed it?
Nobody, because
so
if they
both
fix
full of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It goes back, I mean, this is
the thing we all
mantra.
need to start as America, as the whole of America.
Yes.
We need to stop letting them make things that aren't partisan.
That's right.
Partisan.
That's right.
But unfortunately, the extremists are going to do what they do.
Yeah.
And like even COVID, they made that partisan. That is not a partisan issue.
No.
But they made it partisan. So if you wore a mask, you were a Democrat. And if you'd, even to this day, I saw a guy and I didn't know who it was. He ended up being the CEO of an organization here. I was out doing my job, working on a sign for one of my clients. And the actual guy who's the CEO for this group, and I didn't recognize he had his mask on. And my first instinct was, damn Democrats. Wow.
It's because it's programmed.
It is programmed.
All of us have to watch our thoughts. In fact, that first thought, oftentimes I'm wondering at this point in time, with as much as we're bombarded with messaging and how good that messaging actually is, right? Make America great again. That's great. Who doesn't want to make America great again?
Right.
Hope and change. Who doesn't want hope and change?
Right. But
right?
but the piece to that, and for those Democrats out there, I love you guys, honestly, even though we're going to whip your rears with a group that I'm working on the next election. That's just, make a note, that's going to happen. Man, I'm going to have a good time. But as I see him, I'm being honest and raw. My first instinct, because of where I'm at right now, is damn Democrats. But then I was like, I noticed it and I go, damn, Andy, it's still in me from that issue now. And we were in a place where there's medical stuff around, right? And so I'm thinking, what if somebody has something serious and they're just taking care of people because that's what they do? And so this group is choosing to be on a hyper state of alert because of the facility they work. It has nothing to do with what my mind said it had to do with my initial reaction because of my programming.
Yeah.
And so thank God I was able to catch myself while I was working on the sign, and I thought, holy cow, that's not good.
First thought, second thought, right? Okay, to the audience. First thought, second thought. I have come to the true belief that when I have, or I see something, right? Okay, we'll just give like this examples. This is one that we all have experienced, okay? We're driving along and somebody's going 5 miles under the speed limit, or they're riding us, or they do something, they pull out in front of us, or whatever. I mean, we all drive cars, generally speaking. We all have these traffic issues, right? And even in some people, it gets into like road rage, right? We call it road rage. Well, our first thought, all right, is your first thought, I wonder maybe that guy has something on his mind. It's I understand. I mean, I've pulled out in front of people before. No. That's not our first thought.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We can all think, what's your first thought? You no good. I'm going to honk my horn. And then you even got people that, and this is the new thing to do, okay? I've noticed this while driving because I'm a very...
you must get in a lot of scuttlebutts while you're driving, bro. Maybe it means you're a bad driver.
No, not me. I'm very observant.
It's everybody else.
Generally speaking... I make mistakes, man. I mean, I make mistakes, and I try to have compassion on people that make mistakes. Like if I'm driving along and somebody pulls out in front of me and they don't have enough time, I slow down. You know, I've gotten to the point where I'm not like, let me put on my horn. You know, in case I can't say that what most people think or say on here, we get canceled. But it's this idea that I've even watched people, and it's like an anger of sorts, where if you have plenty of time and you're pulling out in front of somebody, I'm watching traffic up ahead, and somebody's pulling out, and then this person, I guess, is so inclined to be first that they just start speeding up. Just so they can get mad, Andy. Just so that person's pulling out in front. Well, you had plenty of time. I'm watching your car do this. It's like, what is your problem? I couldn't tell you how many times, like, people are blaring on the horn at somebody else. It's like they're not doing anything wrong. Like,
right.
What's your trip? I don't get it. So anyway, okay. First thought, second thought. When you have a first thought, generally speaking, I'm wanting to know what the audience thinks about this, but is that the correct, true thought?
I think a lot of times it is. I mean, it depends on the situation. I mean, you go back to, you don't want to conflate or kind of make these parallel because I don't think it works. But my first thought went to when you take tests. Your first thought is usually right?
Yes.
But in this scenario, you're talking about emotions and rage and all that. And the political climate we live in today with social media, your first thought is to react to the information being given to you with a quick blurb or a headline without any of the meat inside of it. And you're going to get pissed off at the bond because what it is. And because of what's happened over the last, 20 years or whatever, people have this mindset of, how we waste a bunch of stuff, and then you don't realize, that's what the pond's really doing. This stuff really needs to happen, or we're going to end up paying quadruple later for the things that aren't getting fixed now, because we are spending a lot of money on things that need to be fixed. Anyways, and then everybody has the way to fix it, right? That's really loud about it, but is not involved, but really.
They can't even put in proper pronunciation or grammar when it comes punctuation
or names, right? Like
I gotta laugh at it. The funniest thing to me, Andy, is watching people go out and argue against the bot, and I hold my tongue. But if somebody's arguing against I've learned. Okay, so you'll sit there and you'll have somebody that's ragging on education and spending any money on education, but they can't spell. Okay, they don't have any proper punctuation whatsoever, and I'm not, a grammar Nazi here. I'm not somebody that thinks that I know exactly how, when a comma, semicolon, a period, capitalization, sentence run on. I'm not perfect. I mean, by any means, but like some of this stuff is bad.
I think real bad.
And I'm like, man, Maybe somebody should have been arguing for more education and better spending when you were going to school.
It's like instead of defund the police, they're going defund education. It's like, nah, bro.
Defund. D-F-U-N-D, you know?
We actually need to figure out something different because the neighborhoods are crazy.
Yeah.
And you're saying defund the police in the middle of a hood. It's like, probably not the best idea. And then the correlation is somebody that, like me, that can't spell too good, that's dyslexic. Thank God I had education given to me because it would have been really bad. Needs more help, not less.
Yeah.
Right? We need more services. What does that look like? How do we unpack that for the future? Right? But and then there's disciplines in education. But you brought up something earlier, Lance, and talk about families. What is the school's role? That is the hard part because the kid, it's not the kid's fault that they don't get read to. It's not the kid's fault that their parents are going through a divorce. Half of our families in our school districts, more than half. It's not their fault that their parents are locked in on income and they're working their butts off and they're doing all the stuff. It's just they can't get outside of that system because they're trying to make it and doing the best they can. And they're not bad people and they're not stupid. And it's not that they're not working hard enough. They just, damn it, they can't catch a break.
Yeah.
And it happens to a big percentage of us, right? What does that kid have to do with any of that?
Well, are the kids guilty of the sins of their father and their mother?
Well, for sure.
You know, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Like,
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's another way to look at it.
At different levels.
Yeah.
And we're getting so much busier that it's easier for us as adults to tone out when things are really hard. And our kids are kind of just faded off into the background, right? We're not out doing physical labor side by side anymore to learn the things that we used to learn from the people we were around, right? We're not telling them, hey, come out and change the tire with me because we don't want to bother them. We want to let them play video games, not realizing that they're missing out on that time together, but also the skill of what that teaches them because they can use that lesson to learn 3 or 4 other lessons by common sense because they've been through it.
Teaches critical thinking skills.
All of those things, right? Yeah. We're not doing that intentionally. And I think us as dads, I'll just talk because we're 2 dudes here, but, you know, women do their thing because, I mean, my kids have a super mom. You know what I'm saying? I can't even pretend to coach a woman on any of that because she would run me under the table twice over. But as a dad, right? Because I do have a role and the way we work at my house, she tells me when I need to step in, right? And when I step in, my role is my role, right? And I do it, and I don't like it sometimes, right?
But we're supposed to do the hard things.
And that's not that I like it, but yeah, I make the call when it's time for me to make a call. We make a call, and my kids kind of know, right? That means game is. Like mom's done all the stuff, and she doesn't come to me unless it's serious. Yeah. And when she comes to me, their choices are gone. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It's the hammer's getting laid down now.
It's this or that.
Yeah.
And that's it. Because your mom's done all the rest of it.
And do what your mom says,
and respect her.
Or you're gonna have to deal with me.
Yeah. Well, 100%. That's how we run it. I mean, and it
that's
works
a traditional
for us.
Family.
It works for us.
I think another thing too through message. I mean, we don't have enough time today to have all these conversations here, but I think, you know, people underestimate messaging. What are you seeing? What are you taking in? What is it telling you? Right? And then because everybody's connected to this nowadays. Okay. And it builds, I'm telling you, it builds a digital portfolio on you. Be careful what you watch. You know, the old adage is the eyes and the ears are the gateway to the soul, right? And then everything we consume, whether we take in through our eyes or our ears, that is what defines us in a very short period of time. And if you sit there and you watch something about, like, let's say you're a female, okay? And I gotta say, if you're careful, you'll see that the algorithms very quickly, because we are a self-serving society and it's all about me, want it to be all about you, right? They're trying to sell you something. And then if you can't be in a situation where you have something wrong, then they have nothing to sell, coupled with this stuff. But how many men can open up their social media of any kind and there's going to be something geared towards you as the man? All of us. How many females will open up their social media and see something geared to them as the female? All of them. Okay. So then real quickly, it starts spiraling down. It's almost like it just causes the spiral down. How oftentimes, because rage bait and anger bait and all this kind of stuff that we know is effective and what they want to be able to utilize in order to get views, and I say they, the infamous they, it really comes down to marketing, okay? Well, men are this, women are this. Hey girl, you deserve so much better. You deserve so much better. Feed that ego, pull that ego, push that ego. Same thing happens with men. Well, it doesn't take long before your phone, just your phone, is going to have you spiraling out of control to think that your marital relationship is nothing compared to what everybody else is. And you should get gone, girl. You should get gone, guy. She don't respect you. He don't respect you. He don't love you. If he ain't buying flowers, doing your hair, getting your nails done, taking you out to dinner all the time, that's the bare minimum. Well, how many times do we get into this situation with algorithms and everything that we just get angry, frustrated, and it goes back to this. Politics, because everything's politics. Okay, want to cover something on here. So this was in the Kansas House Speaker drops hammer on holdouts. Okay, there was an initiative to redistrict at the state level for the federal elections. Okay, and there were a certain amount of Republicans in the House that were not in agreement with that. Okay, which then, because they wouldn't vote for it, prevented there being the required votes in order to do the redistricting. So most people don't know this about state legislatures and about the federal government and Congress. The Speaker of the House rule all. Okay? So when it says that the Speaker of the House determines where your office is, what committee you sit on, the whole thing, right? And the Speaker is determined, or the leader of the specific branch is determined based upon the vote of your elected officials, which we have no control over. If you don't stay in line and you don't do what either party, regardless of what party it is or where it might be, you could be in California, which is predominantly Democrat, or you could be in Kansas, which is predominantly Republican. If you do not hold the line and do what the party says, your ass is in for a world of problems. And we noticed this with the government shutdown. They're going to the Democrats who broke away and voted to end the government shutdown. They got hell to pay. And I don't think people realize this. They will spend party money to get candidates to go against these candidates in election time.
Their own party.
They will
get a yes person.
And Republicans do it too.
100% they do it. It happens even locally.
And so people, I don't think, really understand the big picture.
Even locally, they choose not to come to the polls for somebody because they're not yes people to their cause. Mm-hmm. It happens.
Every day, all day. Mm-hmm. Every day, all day, till the day we die, Andy.
And so what do you do with that? That's the question.
Down with the two-party system.
You know, there was somebody who wrote something, because, you know, I'm about to get real aggressive in this next election for candidates that I'm going to support. And people are getting upset about that, right? They know it's coming, right? It's like, it's so going to be on. It is on already, actually. The activation switch was already done. It's like, well, let's work together now. It's like, no, that's not how that works. Yeah. We tried that one, you know, and yeah, it's all good. Well, eyes wide open. But here's the thing. When is when, right? When do we fix it? Because this is the way it is.
It's broke. Right now it's broke.
Yeah. So what? I'm still struggling with, how do you make it better? The only thing I can see right now is to create a small army. And we already have the numbers. We just got to go activate and communicate, which we're doing now, actually. You'll see some stuff coming very, very soon. That's very different than what people have seen before around here. But you also want the best people, so you have to activate within that group of people and find the best people within that group and get your best people out there. And it's just hard to not be able to look at it with a broader picture because of the partisan politics.
Yeah.
But it is the way it is. And I don't see a way changing that right now other than just going to play to win.
Well, and I think it is changing. And here's why I think it's changing. When we look at the total number of voters that turn out in an election, it just keeps getting worse on average. I mean, the trajectory is down, right? If you look at what younger people are doing when it comes to policy and politics, they are not going to the polls to make the difference, generally speaking. They are doing things like protesting. They are doing things like boycotting or organizations. They are engaging in a different way because I personally think that they are able to see that this two-party system, this partisan political system, where it's party first. I mean, think about this. That's not some stuff that we should be dealing with in America, right? Think about this. If we are talking to people and they say, "Well, don't split the party. Don't split the party. We want to do what's good for the party. The party, the party, the party." I mean, that almost sounds like nasty, like China, you know what I mean? Like it's all about the party first, the party. If you're somebody that's all about the party and you're going to shape and shift determined upon whatever label that you've self-indulged in, as in a Republican or a Democrat, and are going to sit there and be party first in every situation, shape, or form, we're in some real problems.
Well, yeah, and I think we're seeing it, right? And I think it's this pause for me that I took over the last 3 years. Probably about 3 years, right? I've taken a pause and going, what does this need to look like locally? Because, I'm small fry in a small pond, right? So I'm going, what does this need to look like locally? But because of our lifestyles here, I've had a lot of time to think about it and network. And I thought we were going in a good direction, and I realized not, right? And then how do people take responsibility for that piece that choose to complain about it? And that's where I think the reckoning is people coming to the table sincerely. And it won't happen till the next election is over. I promise you that, for me, okay? That shot's been fired and I'm shooting back. Like, I've said that. I'm open about it. It is what it is. Like, but after that, let's talk. Yeah. I'm open to talk now, but
it's hard for the winners to conversate with the losers,
Of
it's
course.
but this pendulum just keeps going back and forth. Okay, so two things. Well, I have a final word, but I wanted to just say one more thing. This came from Cake News. We've talked in the program in the past, and it was a few years ago, about the Marion County.
Oh yeah.
Record is what was it called? I think is what the newspaper was called. Anyway, just so everybody understands, every decision you make has either a negative or a positive consequence, right? In this situation, it was recently determined that the Marion County, Kansas, has agreed to pay a cumulative $3 million to 3 journalists and a city councilor following the 2023 Marion County Record newspaper raid.
Ouch.
Now, think about this. For a community the size of Marion County, we'll just call that a community, do you know what that actually does to a budget?
It's devastating.
$3 million when you're limited on revenue as it is anyway. That's incredible. Incredible. So just so people knew, that was the outcome of that. We always try to circle back around if anything changes. $3 million, folks. That is going to have to be navigated, and those checks are going to have to be written right away. So it is what it is. Andy, final word, my man.
Have a great week.
Have a great week.
Missed you, Chad.
Yeah, we love you, Chad. We missed you and love you, Chad. For my final word, I just wanted to say this. For those that don't know, I am a board member on the Healthy Harvey County Coalition. And we were having a discussion about the last meeting, a board meeting, which we're going to be talking about in the meeting, which I believe is open to the public for anybody to come to, that, we have got to figure out a way to lead people in the right direction of where they can volunteer, because SNAP recipient benefits have changed. In fact, if you are between the age of 18 between the age of 18 and 54, you are able to work and you don't have any dependents. You need to beat a general work requirement and or a volunteer requirement. And the volunteer requirement is that to receive SNAP benefits, if you fall in that category, you need to work at least 80 hours a month or volunteer for 80 hours a month. So if you're somebody that falls in that category and you're looking to volunteer, keep your ears open, keep your eyes open, because there's hopefully going to be some information coming down the pipe in order for you to volunteer. And I just said that I wanted to cover that on the program and let people know about that. Stay up, keep your head up, keep your focus pro-positive, have gratitude. Have a good week, everybody.